Shovel Knight is an icon in the indie games industry. Since its release in 2014, it's paved a lot of the groundwork for crowdfunded gaming, the 8-bit aesthetic, and video games with the word knight in them. Shovel Knight isn't just an indie game. Shovel Knight is the indie game. Look, they've even got him in Smash.
Shovel Knight!
Yacht Club Games' Shovel Knight Treasure Trove is the perfect blend of nostalgia and ingenuity. With its perfectly designed gameplay and its beautiful pixel art polish, Shovel Knight Treasure Trove is sure to please through its 5 groundbreaking campaigns. I'm Chepek, and this is Shovel Knight. So, to set the scene, the year is 2012, rage memes were considered funny, I was yet to use the internet, and Jesus Christ, the world is going to end, oh my god, it's happening, tell my family I love them. In the middle of all that, someone from a group that would eventually become Yacht Club Games decides, yeah, this seems like a perfectly good time to make a video game. So they did. Shovel Knight's Kickstarter page was up by March of 2013, and they managed to raise 4 times their goal of $75,000 by April. With nearly 15,000 backers, it was clear that everyone believed in Shovel Knight. But would it deliver? Could it really be the love letter to 8-bits everyone had hoped for? Yes, a resounding yes. Shovel Knight was an earth-shattering success, and it definitely delivers on all promises made in its Kickstarter run. As I dug my way through the first of the 5 campaigns, Shovel of Hope, I couldn't ignore just how much Yacht Club Games managed to hit the nail on the head. Shovel Knight almost feels like an old Nintendo game, but with its 16:9 aspect ratio, it'd probably be one of those games that they hardly even change and then charge half a kidney for. You know the ones. The first Shovel Knight campaign is fun, but you can definitely tell that Yacht Club became more confident in trying new things in the latter ones. Regardless, our favorite pogo stick operator, Shovel Knight, is on a journey to take down the evil Order of No Quarter, and their mysterious leader, the Enchantress. Each member of the Order of No Quarter, or Tunk as I like to call it, has their own fortress-like level tailored to their character, in which you spend time collecting scrolls and falling in holes. If you somehow manage to make it to the end of the level, you're valiantly rewarded with a mandatory boss battle. Once you've defeated the Order of No Quarter, you're able to progress to the Tower of Fate, or TOF as I like to call it, where you confront the Enchantress. Look, you can even fight the Ninja Turtles. How wholesome. The plot is pretty much Mario tier, you know, go save princess, but that isn't a bad thing. Unexpectedly, I found that the best parts of Shovel of Hope come from its characters. The main supporting villagers, or the Imsiv as I like to call it, are always delivering hilarious dialogue, playing into 2-dimensional tropes in a funny and self-aware way. There's plenty to do when you're not following the main story. You can fight optional mini-bosses that appear on the world map, as well as collect relics and complete treasure-filled areas associated with them. I should probably talk about those. Relics are essentially Shovel Knight's item system. In a way. Permanently kept in your inventory, relics are unique items that can be used by expending magic. However, Phase Lock is really the only one you need, because oh my trouble is this relic OP. Shovel of Hope is a fun campaign, but if anything, I feel that it's good at establishing the baseline that supports the future installations, rather than being an extraordinary standalone experience. Setting a precedent for how the series will continue in later installations, my favorite part of Shovel of Hope is when you and the Imsiv go to TOF and fight Tunk. Plague Knight's the first of Tunk. Okay, I can't say that anymore. Plague Knight is the first of the Order of No Quarter's members to receive a spin-off, Plague of Shadows, serving as a minor antagonist in Shovel of Hope. Alright, don't die to Plague Knight, that would just be embarrassing. No! What? What is this game? Plague Knight has been brewing up a plan, and that plan is to concoct a potion that will grant unlimited power. Before I get into that though, can I take a second to mention how weird the controls are in this mode? Like, you throw bombs with the fire button, but then you have the option to hold down the fire button to explode in the sky, and then you can double jump as well. Why are the controls so confusing? Anyways, where was I? Oh, right. You're looking to brew a potion using the essence of each of Tunk's members. You're looking to brew a potion using the essence of each of the Order of No Quarter's members, and with it, you will have unlimited power. Using the Mystical Arcana to fight enemies, you'll be spending your time replaying stages from Shovel of Hope, looking to collect the essence from each boss you fight. I like this campaign, but it's definitely the weakest one. It feels more like a secondary character in the first campaign than it does a brand new one. It introduced a handful of fun characters, a new hub world, and some dialogue, but aside from that, you'll find most assets are unchanged. To its credit, the potion system is awesome. It actually makes you feel like an evil alchemist, as you're able to choose the brew used in your potions, as well as the bottle and fuse. But seriously, you're expecting me to collect 30 hidden coins in each level? You can't even quit when you find one you've missed. You literally have to replay the level in its entirety again. At least unlocking all of them gives you a cool item. While really not all that different to Shovel of Hope in terms of level variety, as in the levels are identical, Plague of Shadows still manages to brew up a really sweet story with fleshed out characters. I feel like it's been held back from its potential a small bit. I can almost imagine how cool it would be discovering neighboring kingdoms in search of mythical artifacts. While limited by its setting, Shovel Knight Plague of Shadows manages to create a new experience by putting a spin on an established formula, and it builds upon the world first introduced in Shovel of Hope. Spectre of Torment is the prequel to Shovel of Hope. Following Spectre Knight, the Lord of the Lich Yard, Spectre of Torment tells a compelling story of greed, loss, and redemption. It would almost be a complete tonal shift for the series, but despite the heavy story, Yacht Club Games is able to implement their usual brand of comedy, without it feeling distasteful towards the plot at hand. Spectre of Torment is one of my favorite games in the series. It's an absolute joy to play. I mean, look at this, you move like a ninja. You can climb walls and dash through objects midair. That's awesome. Spectre of Torment has you working for the Enchantress, the antagonist of the first two games. You, as her servant, are forced to recruit the knights that would eventually join the Order of No Quarter. What I really like about Spectre of Torment is how, despite revisiting the same locations shown in the previous game, you aren't playing through the exact same layout. Plague of Shadows. Spectre of Torment acknowledges that the player will have to revisit locales, but it still finds a way to introduce new level mechanics and brand new boss fight patterns. I adore what Yacht Club Games did with this one. The claustrophobic nature of the Tower of Fate reinforces Spectre Knight's less than willing allegiance with the Enchantress. The Magic Mirror, your only way to visit other levels, really feels limiting when you've gotten used to the world map in previous entries, and that is intentional. Spectre of Torment has all kind of fun systems like Red Skulls. Instead of purchasing your magic items from a vendor, you're required to collect a certain amount of Red Skulls and then play through a challenge gauntlet just to collect a new curio. Mechanics like this breathe fresh life into a formula that the player has no doubt played through twice in the previous campaigns, and I love it. A culmination of all things good before it, Spectre of Torment might just be my favorite Shovel Knight game. It really might just be. But then, you have King of Cards. King of Cards is two games pretending to be one, in a collection that's also pretending to be one game. Now, Chepek, I hear you ask, what do you mean by that? And to that I answer, wait, you can speak now? How long have you been able to do this? King of Cards brings the usual platforming segments you'd expect from a Shovel Knight game, and simplifies them. Every level is shorter, with only room for one checkpoint, but the thing is, there are more than 30 of them. This is genius. It allows the developers to experiment with brand new and slightly out there ideas, without the risk of having a tedious 30-minute long experience. It allows for unique enemies like the Axolongl to exist. And look me in the eyes and tell me you could imagine a world without the Axolongl. Spoiler, you can't. These new micro-levels present more opportunities to add wackier concepts to the game. While they aren't always perfect, this kind of environment allows the developers to creatively flourish. King of Cards feels, well, I wouldn't exactly say non-linear, but certainly less linear than the other games. The implementation of more levels means that the player can tackle them in a different order. Hell, you can even finish the game and hardly play any of them. King Knight's control scheme feels amazing. Your only ability is to dash, but if you manage to dash into an object, like, say, the wall, you go spinning in the air and are able to bounce on enemies, drill through dirt holes, and generally be a threat to everyone in the immediate area. Something that our protagonist, King Knight, would know a lot about. Playing as King Knight is pure hilarity. King Knight is an entitled, spoiled brat who needs to have everything go their way. It's hilarious to see how selfish one can act in the face of danger, and his utter distaste towards people who show compassion towards him feels like a complete joke. If Spectre of Torment threw out some of the jokes in order to build a stronger narrative, this is where those jokes landed, because that's just it. King of Cards is a joke in the best possible way. Okay, not really. The king part is, but as for cards, well, the devs weren't joking with that one. Remember when I said King of Cards is two games pretending to be one? Well, Joustus is the second game. The cards in King of Cards, if you will. Joustus is an optional game mode where you can duel others in card battles, defeat Joustus champions, and fight a celestial being. But you didn't hear that last one from me. And to be fair, Joustus is a fairly competent card game. I should know. I've played Uno at least 4 times. How many video games have you played that make you cry as a healing mechanic? King of Cards is a witty satire on the games before it, and although it might be a little controversial, I would say it's my favorite Shovel Knight campaign. If it weren't for Shovel Knight Showdown, baby! No, I'm just kidding. Shovel Knight Showdown is like if Yacht Club tried to make Smash Bros. It's inoffensive, but it's just not the best game ever. But then again, that's just me speaking from my experience of the single player campaign, because I have no friends to play the multiplayer game modes with. Although, I must admit, it's fun to be able to play as each member of the Order of No Quarter, or even as random side characters that they added in for no reason. What really stands out in Shovel Knight is its immense attention to detail. Even in the main menus, you can find fun bonus challenges for you to try and complete. The game will even award you for your efforts with Reddit Gold in the top left of your screen. There's a million things that will fly over the average player's head. There's a body swap mode, in case you wanted all the characters to change body shape. There's a built-in music player where you can listen to tracks from each game. There's a new game plus on every single campaign. They even did a collaboration with famous fast food conglomerate KFC. Now this is epic. Shovel Knight is an indie game that's caused ripples in the industry. At this point, you might have never even played the game, but know Shovel Knight from multiple cameos across several indie games like Banjo-Kazooie 6. Shovel Knight is a game that took a formula, stuck with it, and pushed it to its limits. Each installment remains similar enough to the last to stay cohesive, but each campaign flips its last one's premise on its head. Shovel Knight surely is a treasure trove with its myriad of content spanning 6 years of development. Anyways, with that said and done, I give Shovel Knight Treasure Trove a 1 out of 10. And I eagerly await the next installment, a 60-hour long spin-off game focusing on the best character, Tinker Knight. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Any support is greatly appreciated. I've been following Yacht Club Games' new releases, and I'm really excited for Shovel Knight Dig and Pocket Dungeon whenever they release. So if there's any interest in me covering those when they're out, please let me know. I love the whole NES aesthetic of Shovel Knight, and to be honest, it's just a really solid platformer. I seriously recommend all the campaigns in this collection because they're amazing. I highly urge you to play them. Anyways, that's all for me, so I guess I'll see you next time where I make my dog morbidly obese for internet points.